Okay, welcome in everybody. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network. Welcome to, whew, it's a warm one, warm one Wednesday. I don't know, it's a hot day. So I am here with a beautiful new friend of mine, a new guest, Blair. Hello, Blair. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. You sound like you're a really great person to come over to our channel and you know, have you around and see what you got going on because you've got some things happening. So why don't you first of all start off by introducing yourself and tell us where you are in the world?
Thank you. It's interesting because I'm a social media and publicity expert by choice, but a grief and resilience expert by circumstance. And it's interesting because the bridge between both of those is that I help people share their stories. And I'm based in Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada, but I'm global and I am the founder of the Global Resilience Project. And it's a community and space where we help people strengthen their resilience muscle based on neuroscience. And it's really cool because, we publish books. I'm trying to hold, we publish books and feature stories of resilience. We have a podcast, a clothing line, strategic partnerships. And I became a motivational speaker and a writer. But all this happened because I went through a lot of really hard stuff.
Mhm.
And my path led me to this. And I didn't think I'd be a 39-year-old sober, childless, parentless bird watcher living in Kamloops. It wasn't on my vision board or my bingo card, but here I am.
This is what you get, right? It's sometimes we don't get the choice. It's given to us for us to figure out what we're supposed to do with it.
Yep. Yeah,
Like you're
exactly.
doing some things with it though, so that's good.
Yeah, so I mean, I get content warning. I talk about heavy stuff. I mean, we're all here because of heavy stuff, but
Absolutely.
I guess just a little high level on how the path happened. Luckily, my background's marketing and PR, so whatever I choose to take on, I have a bit of background in the visibility, which is super cool. But I'm the daughter of a man who lived with addiction and a child of divorce. And I grew up with my dad in and out of my life. I thought he stopped loving me because I was very close with him. And in my 20s, I forgave him. And we developed a very beautiful relationship. But in 2018, we learned he was terminally ill. And yeah, and I started doing what you're not supposed to do, and it's letting the skeletons out of the closet. And I started to talk about his addiction, my forgiveness, and our resilience because I was trying to process what was happening because he was being taken away from me again. And sorry, my eye is itchy. And what was happening was my story, our story was inspiring people to choose sobriety or fix relationships with parents before they died or get counseling or therapy. And people were sharing their stories with me and then going, Blair, I've never shared that with anyone. I don't know why I'm sharing it with you. And so I said to my dad, what if we write a book? Let's gather stories of resilience from around the world and we'll bookend it with your story and mine. And when you're no longer here, we can still help people because we learned he was terminally ill. And I don't know, it's kind of like that, like how can we find something to, help heal us? And we launched the project in 2019, but unfortunately, from launching the project until the very first book came out was 3.5 years because we struggled with fertility and we were told we probably couldn't get pregnant. And then my grandfather died. And then on the way home from the funeral, we got in a car accident on the Sea to Sky Highway and I got a concussion. And then a few months later, my husband almost died. He had a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. He's good now, but that was scary. Being widowed at early 30s was not part of the plan. And then the pandemic happened. Don't need to go down that path. And then a year after the heart attack, we got pregnant without trying because we were told we couldn't. But then the pandemic happened and we just kind of like shelved it. So we got pregnant. And then unfortunately, 3 weeks later, sorry, the day we unfortunately miscarried. Sorry. And then 3 weeks after the miscarriage, my father-in-law suddenly died from a 3-week battle with cancer. And then 3 months later to the day, almost, my mother suddenly died after a 3-week battle with cancer. And then my dad died the same year as my mom in the same week, but a year apart. And so losing three parents in their 60s and the baby and almost losing my husband in a very short period of time changed the path I was on. And I decided to live a life I didn't want to retire from. And I did a lot of research. I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but I'm a human. And I did a lot of research about the neuroscience of resilience and how to strengthen your resilience muscle just by using certain techniques. And I started speaking about that and helping people, and it brought me a lot of healing. And so when the first book came out in July 2022, it didn't make it into the hands of my dad. But it did become a bestseller, and I didn't know what I was going to do moving forward from that because the book came out. That was the plan. But in reflection, I ended up starting this global movement with a podcast and all the other things I listed. And I didn't know if I was going to do another book. And I finally took a vacation. The pandemic, the borders opened, and my husband and I needed a little break because that was a lot. And we were in Hawaii, and my mom came to me in a dream. She comes to me a lot in my dreams, and she was telling me how proud she was of me. And I was getting ready to put my second book out. So I woke up, I'm like, second book, here we go. Took me about a year. And in March 2024 of this year, the second book came out, which is Resilient AF, Stories of Resilience, and it came out in hardcover and paperback. And woo, there goes the disco ball. And I like my sparkles. And
Love it.
yeah, and then it became a bestseller. And as soon as it came out, people were like, "Well, Blair, I want to get in your next book." I'm like, "Okay." So we're working on Resilient AF, Stories of Resilience Volume 2. And we're building out some cool stuff to launch in the new year in 2025. And I became a grief and resilience expert, providing support for high performers navigating grief, and created a navigating grief framework. And I'm doing a TED Talk in October, and I'm featured on a show on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus. And my mission, our mission, the movement's mission, is to empower 888 million people to strengthen their resilience muscle by August 2030.
Cool. That's
So
fun.
yeah.
That's something we can
Yeah.
participate in, right? We can be part of the movement. We can be part of that challenge.
Yeah. I'm
Cool.
blocking the disco ball now with my book. But yeah, I mean, being you watching this video, this interview, this conversation, you having this conversation with me is part of it.
Right.
Whether I go for coffee with someone and hold space for them or end up on a billboard in Times Square, which in January 2025, we're launching the next book with a billboard in Times Square featuring each of the authors from all three books, like in whatever capacity it is, knowing that someone may hear one of the stories we share or my story or a tool and their life changes for the better, that's so important. And that's the legacy I'm leaving because I'm not having kids. We used all our big feelings up.
Right.
And we've just decided this isn't, it will be a mother to many and the cool auntie and uncle. And I'm here to be of service, and I'm here to leave that legacy of letting people know that everyone has the power to retrain their brain, rewire their brain to be resilient. We all have a resilience muscle. So, yeah.
Amazing. Oh my word. I'm sitting here thinking of all these incredible people that I know that need to be in your book. There's so many, right? And so many of us are
Yeah.
more resilient than we even realize. I think a lot
We
of people,
we are.
yeah, like a lot of people don't even know that they've, that they just put it on the shelf. Okay, I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing. And they don't look back and go, wow, I came through all that. I managed all that. I did that.
Mhm.
And I'm still here. And yeah, the little tools that we pick up and um, the little things that help us get to the next level.
Listen, I know you've gone through stuff and everyone watching it, I think something that's kind of common is like, wow, you're so strong, you're so resilient. Like, how did you get through it? And it's like, what are our choices? Our choices really are, it's like you put one foot in front of the other and get through it, or like,
Yep.
I don't even want to say it. It's not about how did you do it in the sense of like, wow, you got through it. It's more of an internal reflection because we are all resilient, not even sometimes knowing that we have to be flexing our resilience muscle or activating it. I think it's about not even how you get through it in the sense of like, oh, you're through it, but like being sober and navigating my dad's end of life, and then my husband almost dying, the miscarriage, and three parents dying, and not breaking my sobriety. That was a huge way of me getting through it, choosing the fuel in my body. I have a gratitude practice I've been doing since 2009, no, 2016. And I can talk about the science of that, but like I literally, like I do it every single day. And I can talk about the science, but like to tell you how powerful it is, my mom, okay, so my mom was 62 when she passed away, and she learned she had cancer, didn't even make it to a biopsy. They're like, you're going to be fine. And then she called me. She lived in Winnipeg. Blair, I'm in the hospital. Or she messaged me. I'm in the hospital. Like, I have some pain. Can you come in and help? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Got a one-way ticket. And then she got out of the hospital. She shouldn't have gotten out of the hospital. She was still in pain, went back in. And they're like, you have 2 weeks left to live. Your body's covered in tumors. And she died 3 days later. She
Wow.
didn't even make it to a biopsy. Yeah. And when she learned she was terminal, she's like, Blair, like I'm in so much pain. We're like, well, let go. Like, don't hold on. Like me and Alana, my sister, our mental health director, we're fine. And the day she went to sleep her final time, me, my mom, and sister practiced gratitude. And my mom's gratitude was, I'm grateful for you, you, and you. And Alana and I are like, who's the third you? She said, me. And those were some of her last words.
Wow.
And the science behind that is that if you practice gratitude every day at the exact same time, and you list three things you're grateful for from the past 24 hours in as much detail as possible, and you do this for at least 21 days, your brain gets rewired to see the world in a more positive way. Okay, that's science. I did not make it up. I heard that in 2016. I was like, that sounds hokey pokey, but like, I'm also a woo woo Jew, so like kind of believed it. So I set my alarm in my phone to 9 p.m. to go off every single day, and I labeled it the gratitude alarm.
Simple.
And it's simple, and that's almost what, like that's 8 years ago. And like, sometimes it has to happen earlier because I'm in bed before 9. Sometimes it happens a bit later. Sometimes, the alarm, I hit snooze and I don't want to do it because I'm having a bad day, and my husband will do it, then I do it, and we do it.
Okay.
And so when someone's like, how do you get through it? Honestly, that gratitude practice, there was not a lot to be grateful for, but I always found three things. I always found three things. And it sometimes was that like Advil, the day is over, and my bed, but it's such a beautiful practice. And it doesn't need to be the end of the day. I like it at the end of the day. Some people do it at dinner or first thing in the morning, or they journal it, but it became something so beautiful that I did with everyone around me. And so
Mm.
when someone's like, how did you get through it? I'm like, well, you have no choice. Well, you do have a choice, but it's forward or it's over. And but it's how did I get through it the way I got through it? Because I have these tools, and I used the tools because
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel that pain anymore. And I don't numb. I did eat a lot of cookie dough blizzards, but I don't numb. You know what I mean? Like I don't escape. I don't, use substance. And so you have to feel to heal, but also you can use tools to get through it.
Yeah, and those tools can be so incredibly powerful. And the more you use them, they're there right when you need them. You don't have to think about it too much. They just, oh yeah, I have this thing, I can do this. Or, oh yeah, I need to do this thing right now. Like those
Mhm.
practices that you ingrain in yourself, yeah, they take you there.
Yeah. And it's like, so yeah. So I get on stage and I tell people how to strengthen their resilience muscle based on neuroscience. And you don't have to do all the things. And there's more than five. I focus on five, but they're so simple that like doesn't matter where you are in the world, there are things you can do to make a difference. And one of them is storytelling. There is a huge science behind storytelling and how it reduces cortisol and it builds connection and it helps you navigate and process and heal forward. And that's why we do the storytelling through the books and the podcasts and the speaking and the events.
Right. Oh, so many wonderful things that you offer. Do you coach too? Do you work with people
I
one on?
do. Yeah, I do. I offer one-on-one support for grief and resilience, support. I'm not a therapist. I don't pretend. I do. I'm always learning and doing different certifications, but I have been and I do offer one-on-one support. And I did build out a navigating grief framework where I am your griefy BFF to walk you through those hard times and connect you to the right professionals and the right people because something that works for you might not work for someone else. And, I've been helping navigate people since I started talking about this and, getting messages, Blair, my mom's about to die. I'm going to need your support. My brother died and I'm in so much pain. I don't know what to do. And so I'm here to be that friend and to hold space and take that burden off your family and to not have you walk through it alone.
Right. And that's, I mean, you've been there, you understand. And I know for myself, in my own practice, in my, the people around me, I know that's 100% true. You don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to have a piece of paper to have all the actual knowledge and the heart that it takes to help somebody else along. And obviously you're
Yeah.
doing a good job at that.
Thank you. Yeah. And like, like I'll have some people like I'm going through, someone in my life is going through something and I'm supporting them, but what they need is they need an AA sponsor and they need a counselor. And like, I am there to help point them in the right direction. And they want recommendations on techniques for breathing, which we feature different techniques for anxiety in the book and how to navigate it. And so, and they want different books and podcasts. And so like, that's my job, is to help be that guiding light and that lighthouse in the storm. And sometimes we just need that, especially when we're going through something that's also impacting our friends and family. It's like my husband almost died, and then we had a miscarriage, and his dad died, and my mom died. We were the wounded, and then my dad died. We were the wounded helping the wounded,
Right.
right? And so sometimes it's nice to bring in someone else who can help you through it.
Totally. Yes. It's somebody who has understanding and compassion around the actual thing, not just from a
Yeah.
book, from something that they read or watched somebody else go through, but having that
Yeah.
actual inner,
Experience.
yeah, the inner work that goes along with that. Even, after, the healing starts and that. Those are the little points, the little nuggets that you give to people. And
Yeah.
so you've got two books, you've got a podcast, you've got what else? Tell me again.
We have a clothing line.
Oh, clothing line. What?
Well, it started off as merch, but now well, yeah, it's like tongue in cheek, like we have shirts that say Resilient AF. We have a Dead Parents Society shirt, the club that no one wants to join. We have a shirt that says Good Grief, and we donate a portion of those sales to Camp Aaron, which helps children navigating the loss of parents and siblings. We have mugs and shirts and hats, and we have all sorts of things, and everything can be found at theglobalresilienceproject.com. And you know, my sister, Alana, who is our mental health director, is in charge of the clothing, like the clothing line. And it's just another way for us to generate buzz and awareness, but also and to give back, but also the project started out of a place of wanting to leave a legacy. It didn't start off as a business, and my PR company has been funding it. So the clothing line helps us fund the business.
Oh, that's very cool. How
Yeah.
very ingenious. What a good way. I like that. I think everybody should have, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, I think these days, wearing the wearables, showing your support, being seen with it helps
Mhm.
other people. So yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's very
Yeah.
fun. So and your
Yeah.
your next book coming out, that's going to be your third book, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's going to be the third book from the Global Resilience Project. So the first book is called The Global Resilience Project because that's what it was going to be. The whole project was the book, and then it became a thing, a movement.
Right.
And the second book is Resilient AF Stories of Resilience. And the third book is Resilient AF Stories of Resilience, Volume 2. And right now, each book showcases around 50 stories of resilience. And we're more than half full. And every we're adding more co-authors. And when you're a co-author in the book, you get like it's a beautiful coffee table style book where you get like a really nice, beautiful spread. You get a photo, and you showcase your challenge, your story, advice for someone going through something similar. And we give you a book and your story printed out beautifully, marketing assets. We promote you. With my background being in marketing and PR, I do a bunch of promotion. And the book that's coming out in January, we're going to be handing out copies at an Oscars gifting lounge to celebrities and media, putting you on a billboard in Times Square, and helping plan events depending where you are. Sometimes I will come to you unless you're not, unless I can't, but planning different events and supporting people. And everyone has something really beautiful to bring in the community. And so like at the end of August, we're doing, and I haven't announced it. So this is like a soft launch because you can't get a ticket to it yet, but we're doing a virtual summit, the Resilient AF Summer Summit, where it's a free event and we're showcasing people who have stories of resilience, our co-authors and a few other keynote speakers. And So there's lots of ways to get involved, but if you have a story of overcoming a challenge and you want the experience of being a part of the co-author collective and being a part of this movement and being featured on a billboard in Times Square and have your story handed out to celebrities and media and just being a part of this world, like we would love to get to know you.
Cool. Oh my word. As I was saying, there are so many women I know personally and I know are in this group that I hope they reach out to you. And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of amazing resilient stories and wow, just
Yeah.
so
And I should say there is an investment and all the money that is made from the book goes right back into the book. Like remember, I fund it from my business, this project. But right now the cost is 888 US dollars, and we do have a 6-month payment plan. So just you want to put that out there. There is an investment into it.
okay, that's perfect. Well, I mean, that's normal for there to be an investment
Yeah.
in kind of things. And but what you're offering is pretty amazing. It seems like there's a lot more layers to what you've got here. And yeah, it sounds like it's going to be incredible. So is there anything else you would like to share with us? How people can get a hold of you? I know you did mention a website, but how
Hmm.
can people reach you?
Yeah, so our website for the project is theglobalresilienceproject.com. You want to reach out to me, email blair@blairkaplan.ca. So BLAIRKAPLAN.ca. Instagram, Blair from Blairland's my personal Instagram. That's where I am the most active. And what I'd love to leave with you is knowing that you are resilient and you don't have to go through your hard stuff alone. You will get through it one step at a time, one moment at a time. But there are organizations and groups like ours that can be that lighthouse in the storm. And just know that you will get through it. It is okay to not be okay and that you are resilient.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, women of the Women's Wellness Network, if you would like to know some more about Blair or find out more about her project that she's got going on, we will put all of the information into the comment section so that you can reach out to her and maybe discover some more. Maybe you can even be featured in the book if that's a thing that you're feeling called to. That's exciting, right? I think
Yeah.
that's
And let's get on a call. We can talk about it if it's a good fit for you.
cool. Cool. Okay, so thank you, Blair. Thank you so much for coming today. It was really lovely to meet you and hear more about what you have going on.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful.